Hello, sports fans. It is Thursday, May the 30th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Let's recap what went on in the sports world last night. Let's start in the NHL. Game 7 in Chicago, where the Chicago Blackhawks, in overtime, beat the Detroit Red Wings 2-1. The Blackhawks advanced to the Western Conference Finals. A very tough, grinded-out game. No score after the first period. Chicago scores in the second to take a 1-0 lead. Detroit ties it in the third at 1-1. Chicago gets absolutely robbed in the third period. Should have had a go-ahead goal to go up 2-1 in regulation. Refs made a terrible call in that game. Should have never called that penalty, that coincidental minor penalty. Chicago got robbed of a goal there. We go to overtime, and Chicago wins it in overtime, and Chicago comes back from 3-1 down to win this series. What a great comeback by Chicago. I mean, they're down 3-1 to a good Detroit team. In Game 6, they're down 2-1 in the game on the road. They come back to win that game. Tremendous job by Chicago. They stared death in the face, and they live to fight another day. They must feel like they have new life, kind of like the Bruins in the Eastern Conference when the Bruins were dead against Toronto, came back to win that game. Chicago's got to feel the same way now. They got to feel like they are unbeatable after getting through a series like this. Tremendous job by them, and good job by Detroit, too. I know they lost the game, but Detroit knocked off the 2-seed Anaheim in the first round. They came back 3 different times in that series, won Game 7 on the road, gave Chicago everything they could handle in this series. They come up a little short. Tremendous job by the Blackhawks, and that sets up a doozy of a Western Conference final. Los Angeles at Chicago should be tremendous. They start on Saturday, and they will play Saturday and Sunday in Chicago back-to-back to start it off before they play every other day the rest of the way. Tremendous stuff there. LA and Chicago, I think it's going 7 games. I'm going to stick with Chicago. I picked them before the playoffs. I say Chicago wins in 7 just because of the home ice. LA is great at home, little shaky on the road. Remember when they played San Jose in the last round? Lost all 3 road games. I think that's going to be the difference here. I think Chicago having home ice is going to get them through. Should be tremendous hockey. And then on the other side, the Eastern Conference, Boston and Pittsburgh just as good. I'm going to say Pittsburgh in 7 just because they have home ice, a little too much firepower. But if you told me Boston and the Kings were going to win, I couldn't argue with you. Any of these 4 teams could make the Cup Finals. These are your last 4 Stanley Cup winners, remember. Kings won it last year. 2 years ago, Boston won it. 3 years ago, the Blackhawks won it. And 4 years ago, the Penguins won it. You have your last 4 Stanley Cup champions here. Tremendous hockey coming up. Must-watch hockey. Tremendous battles these series should be. I could see them going either way. I'll pick Pittsburgh in 7, Chicago in 7, just because of home ice. They have Game 7, on their home ice, Chicago and Pittsburgh. But if you told me Boston and the Kings were going to win, I couldn't argue with you. These are 4 really solid teams. The game should be tremendous. It all kicks off Saturday. Like I said, Chicago and LA play Saturday and Sunday, and Pittsburgh also kicks off their series on Saturday. Should be tremendous stuff coming up over the weekend in your NHL. Also yesterday from the NHL, the Rangers fired their coach Tortorella. Listen, this was not about Tortorella's record. He had a nice record. Rangers made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They won a round in the playoffs this year. This was about his attitude, his personality, how he deals with other people. He apparently rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in the organization. Didn't deal with the media, very well. Rumor has it in the locker room he wasn't too great with the players here at the end. So this was more about Tortorella's personality and how he dealt with other people. His record was fine. You can't really argue with his record. He didn't have a losing record. They made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. This was about his personality. So we'll see who the Rangers make their new coach. A lot of names floating around. Even Mark Messier. That would be interesting if Mark Messier got the job. Very interesting there. That's kind of like Patrick Waugh getting the job with the Avalanche recently. Maybe Messier gets the job with the Rangers. That would get the Ranger fans excited. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's your NHL. NBA, nothing last night. We're getting ready for the big Game 5 tonight between Indiana at Miami. Also, in your Major League Baseball last night, let's go through some of the games real quick. Cubs at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field beat the White Sox. Navarro had 3 home runs for the Cubbies. Baltimore beat Washington. Washington, it's funny, Zimmerman for Washington had 3 home runs, yet Baltimore still won because Davis hit 2 home runs for Baltimore. I mean, how good is Davis playing this year. He's got 19 home runs. Tremendous job by him. So Baltimore beats Washington last night despite the Zimmerman 3 home runs for the Nationals. Cleveland beats Cincinnati, ends their losing streak. Masterson, another well-pitched game for Cleveland. If you haven't seen Masterson pitch, please check him out. Very good pitcher. Mets beat the Yankees again. That's 3 straight the Mets have beaten the Yankees. They go for the 4-game sweep tonight. Unbelievable. The Mets finally found someone they could beat. Philadelphia beat Boston. Brown had 2 home runs. Howard hit a home run as well. Pittsburgh rallied and beat Detroit with a 4-run 7th inning. Toronto shut out Atlanta. Surprised about that. I mean, we know Toronto can score. They very rarely throw up a shutout. I mean, they never throw out a shutout at you. And Atlanta usually scores 1,000,000 runs, so Toronto gets the shutout last night. Tampa Bay beats Miami. Miami has now lost 8 in a row. Arizona, Texas rained out. Minnesota beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee is becoming one of the worst teams in baseball. St. Louis continues to roll. They beat Kansas City. Kansas City can't win a game now. Houston beat Colorado despite Tulowitzki's 2 home runs. And despite the fact that Houston hitters struck out 12 times, the Astros still win last night. The Angels beat the Dodgers. Weaver returns pitch as well, so that ends the Dodgers' brief 2-game winning streak. San Diego beat Seattle in 10 innings. And Oakland beat San Francisco again. That's 6 in a row for Oakland overall. 3 straight against San Francisco. Lincecum takes the loss. Lincecum, 5.12 earned run average. Are you kidding me? I mean, he has fallen to pieces the last couple of years. I think he's lost it. I don't know if we're ever going to see the Lincecum of old ever again. I mean, he looks like he's really lost it. So the A's get the win over their arch rival, the Giants, last night. As far as tonight, what to watch, your NHL gets a couple of days off until Saturday. You got your Major League Baseball tonight. The same matchups as yesterday you're going to have today. Tonight is an NBA night. Tonight is an NBA night. You have Indiana at Miami, a pivotal Game 5. Series tied at 2. This is a very important swing game. If Miami wins this game, they go up 3-2, and they have 2 chances to close it out. They would still have home court. You'd have to favor Miami. Indiana wins. They are up 3-2 with a chance to close it out in Indiana in Game 6. To me, I think Miami's going to win tonight. I think they're going to win the series. If Indiana is to win this series, I think they have to win tonight and possibly close it out in Game 6 at home. I don't think Indiana is capable of losing tonight and then winning 2 in a row, especially Game 7 in Miami. I just don't think that's happening. As a matter of fact, I don't really see any scenario that Indiana actually wins this series. I see exactly what's going on here. Indiana's going to play them tough. They're going to go toe-to-toe with them. In the end, Miami's going to be a little too strong, a little too much LeBron James, kind of like last year. This is kind of the same series we had last year. Indiana battled Miami. I think it was 2-2 last year before Miami pulled away. I think it's the same type of series this year. I think the Heat are going to win tonight, find a way to win this series, but I think Indiana's recipe to win this series: win a game tonight, steal a game tonight, then have Game 6 in your building with a chance to close it out. I mean, that's the way to go. Rather than lose tonight and you got to win 2 in a row, including Game 7 on the road, that's not likely. I mean, so I still think it's Miami's series to lose. They still have home court, but Indiana's done a tremendous job here. Really, really nice team. Should be a fun basketball game. These games have all been pretty much close. Indiana is going toe-to-toe with Miami. They're not afraid of Miami. They don't back down from Miami. So it should be tremendous basketball tonight down in the city of Miami. Must-watch NBA game. Also, one score I forgot to mention last night, a friendly in soccer. The U.S. men's national team lost to Belgium last night, 4-2. The USA looked terrible. Now, it was only a friendly, so you don't care too much about it. And they got their World Cup qualifying games coming up next week. I think they play at Jamaica next week. They have one more friendly this weekend against Germany in Washington, D.C. But the USA men's team didn't look good at all. Now, I know they had a lot of guys out. I mean, Donovan and Bradley didn't play, but they looked terrible last night. Decent crowd in Cleveland for the game, too. I think they had about 25,000, so that's a decent crowd for an exhibition game. But the USA men's national team has to pick it up. Didn't look good at all last night. Belgium beats them 4-2, so I wanted to touch on that score as well. Okay, you guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. You guys, thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in. You guys stay safe today. Enjoy the games tonight. Today's an NBA day. No NHL tonight. Major League Baseball, you got some stuff, but it's still kind of early in Major League Baseball season. You got to focus in on the Indiana at Miami game. Game 5 in Miami. Important swing game. I expect Miami to get through tonight, but I'm sure it won't be easy. I'm sure Indiana will battle them right to the end. So enjoy the games tonight. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Friday, we'll recap it all. Take care.